Welcome into the Road in Between. Today we're going to be highlighting a man named Jimmie Rodgers. Jimmie Rodgers only lived to the age of 36. He was born in 1897 and went to 1933, died of tuberculosis. And yet, what an impact he had, not only here in Mississippi, but around the world. So who is Jimmie Rodgers? Why is he well known? And how did he become the father of country music? That's what we're going to be sharing with you today at the festival and beyond.
Thoughts keep running through my head as I walk this road with nothing ahead. The sun beams down on my face as I walk this road that leads to amazing grace.
Award-winning, quality, experience. Glass Incorporated's expert team can handle single window panes to entire high-rise buildings. Whether you need storefronts, glass replacement, mirrors, or shower enclosures, no job is too big or too small. Glass Incorporated, your commercial and residential glass experts. Locations in Meridian, Foley, Alabama, and the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
A lot of people have helped get me here. My sisters always had my back. My buddies, Sonny and Sean. The crew, pushing me to be faster. Amy, reminding me to enjoy the moment. And Nationwide, who I've personally been with for 25 years. It's never been just me out there. Nationwide is on your side.
Coming up next on the Road in Between.
John O'Neill Johnson Toyota has been serving customers for over 20 years with integrity, honesty, and value. We want to thank you, our customers, for helping us win so many awards. Now we're #1 in Gulf States Toyota for market share 2 years in a row. Multiple winner of Toyota's President Award and 6-time Gold Dealer recognition. And the reason is simple. Customer satisfaction is our #1 priority.
John O'Neill Johnson, a name you can trust. Toyota, a product you can depend on.
Welcome back to the Road in Between.
Will become of the hobo whenever his time comes to die. And there's a master up yonder in heaven.
We are here with Britt Gully. Britt is a Mississippi native and a star of music to many of us, and we are grateful that you're on the Road in Between.
Boy, I'm happy to be here. Y'all's show is fun. I'm having a big time today.
Well, thank you, thank you. Well, we're going to start out finding out who Britt Gully is, and then I know you're also interested in Jimmie Rodgers and his music and how it influenced a lot of people, but tell us about Britt.
So I went to Mississippi State and majored in geology and learned a good bit about it and hadn't used it at all. Come back home and played music, raised cows, and piddled around on the rural route.
I understand you're really bright though. You were top of your class.
Yeah, I was in the top of my class. Yeah. I don't think that's doing me much good right now.
But you wanted to come back home.
Yeah, I couldn't thrive anywhere else.
And tell us about your music.
My music is anybody's music is good is a reflection of where they're from, who they are, what you know, and that's what it is with me. And you know, I love Jimmie Rodgers, and I love Hank Williams, and I love Waylon Jennings, and I love Muddy Waters, and everything that you like influences you a little bit, but then you put what you know into it. And I write a bunch of gospel songs and country songs and rockabilly. If you scare me, if you startle me, I revert to rockabilly for some reason. I go to Carl Perkins just like that.
How about that?
But a lot of my stuff shows that up. And,
well, you learned to ride a horse before you learned to ride a bicycle.
Yeah, I was on a horse all my life and used to stay on them all the time. And my little boy Will's decided we need horses, so I guess we're fixing to get back in. But yeah, I kept a horse tied all the time. I was 13 years old before I ever learned how to ride a bicycle, because I kept a horse sitting there all the time.
How about that?
I ain't just playing at this country boy, Tom.
You are a
Tom,
country boy.
I am a country boy.
Yes, you are. We love that about you. Well, you've got a new
Yes.
CD that you made.
Yeah, a couple of
Tell us
years
about
ago, Alan Delk was behind the project. He produced the album, and he'd been after me for years to record Jimmie Rodgers stuff. And Jimmie was such a wonderful singer, and I said, well, what's the point in doing that? And you know, every time I'd bump into him, he'd say, you thought any more about that? You thought any more about that? And then one night he mentioned it to me. He said, you know, we wouldn't do it just like that. We'd sort of do it our own rough and rowdy way. And I said, well, Alan, you may be right. So we got to calling the friends of ours around and talking to different people. And Alan put out the word to some folks in Nashville, and there were several folks wanted in on it. So we got 3 Grammy winners on it with us, and we gathered up, knew how we wanted it to sound, and the people we wanted to use were close in here for the most part, and we could make it sound the way we wanted to. And a lot of folks think Jimmie's stuff was just him and the guitar, but Jimmie used orchestras and horn sections and all kind of stuff. The first steel guitar used on a country record, Jimmie put it on there. He was experimenting, so we kind of experimented and done it the way we thought it should be sounding for now. You know, we remain true to the sound of it and the spirit of it. But
And you came in late at night, right?
yeah,
Here?
we slipped out here and done this. We would do it on the weekends and late at night, and have a couple of interesting things happened out here next to this place late at night. Had to bring your slingshot with you to come out here. Squirrels might get after you.
That's right. Now you were able to play the actual original
Yeah, we played that.
guitar.
So according to Martin, that's the most valuable guitar in the world, and because of everything and it's a wonderful piece, and then everything it was in on, and everything it saw, and it was so influential. And it was just an honor, and I didn't hit one lick on that thing that I didn't realize this is it right here, and it's been somewhere, and it's done some things.
All the roads it's traveled.
Yeah.
Tell us about Jimmie Rodgers. What's your thoughts on him?
Well, like Bob Dylan said, he's the man started it all. You know, music was just fun and a pastime and that kind of stuff, and it got a hold to Jimmie, and Jimmie was kind of speaking for the people. He was saying what the people were thinking at the time, and it took off. And Ralph Peer with the Victor Recording Company saw there's money to be made with this, Jimmie, for the first time ever. And Jimmie sold 1 million of 78 records on T for Texas in 1929. You know, folks wasn't making any money, but they would come up with 75 cents to go buy a Jimmie Rodgers 78. And it's just amazing that he took over the world from right here in Meridian.
How about that?
And you can't ever overstate it or overplay it. There wasn't anybody ahead of Jimmie Rodgers. I guess somebody might have cropped up somewhere and done something similar later on, but they didn't. Jimmie done it from right here.
Right here.
Right here.
A sense of place is very important to Jimmie, and also very important to you.
Yeah, you sing what you know, you play what you know, you write what you know, and Jimmie was coming from his railroad background and his country boy, small town boy background, and that's folks know when something's sincere.
Yes.
And it's got to be the truth for the folks to believe it.
That's right. Now his mother died when he was what, 6 or 7? Is that
Yeah,
right?
really young, of tuberculosis,
How about that?
and probably where Jimmie caught it from her, and he suffered with it till he died when he was 35, I believe.
Young. Now Hank Williams Sr., he was young too.
29.
29.
29 years old.
And the influence and the legacy that they left behind.
Yeah. Hank Williams wrote, I Don't Care If Tomorrow Never Comes, when he was 17 years old. That's a whole lot better than just singing about dancing and riding around in your truck that you hear on the radio now.
That's right. That's
It's
right. Big
important
difference.
stuff, yeah.
Big difference. Well, I know that the train story was a big part of Jimmie.
Yeah, Jimmie's daddy and his uncle were railroad men, and Jimmie ran off with a traveling medicine show, a tent show. He won a talent contest, and his daddy sent somebody to bring him back home, and he told him, son, you either going to school or you going to work for my section crew on the railroad. So school didn't work for him, so he went out there with the railroad, the track laying crew. And it was a bunch of blacks that was playing music a lot. When they'd take a break, they'd grab out a banjo and a guitar and they'd play. And Jimmie was already headed that direction, and he swallowed it whole and jumped in it. And I guess that's where he got his bluesy kind of influence and all, but you know, there wasn't any categories back then. Everybody was just making music, and that seeped into him from that angle, and he just rolled it all together and throwed it out there, writing what he knew, what he come from. It's all kind of wonderful stuff in here, and of course old records, but what everybody is so amazed by is Jimmie's 1927 Martin guitar. And I used it on the album, and it's a wonderful old piece, and Jimmie had the fanciest one made that anybody could have. That was the first famous instrument there, but that guitar was famous on its own. And after Jimmie died, everybody was under the influence of Jimmie Rodgers, all these country music singers and wannabes and all. And Ernest Tubb had a show out in Texas, a radio show, and he made contact with Jimmie's widow. And would you please tune in and listen to my show? I do a lot of your husband's songs, and let me know what you think of it. Well, she liked it a lot, and they became good friends, and she told Ernest that she wanted him to take that guitar out on the road and play it. Wow. So Ernest kept that thing on the road 40 years, I think.
Unbelievable. Playing
it, and had that pick guard put on it because he thought he was scratching a hole through it with his guitar pick. But
now, what kind of wood is used for this guitar?
It's Brazilian rosewood is the back, and that's the best thing you can make a guitar out of, and it's endangered now, and they can still come by a little bit of it every now and then. And the top spruce and the neck's mahogany, and it was just really put together well. And guitars age, and things get better about them as they dry out, and they will, if they're not played for a long time, they call it going to sleep. And this one hadn't been played in a long time, and when we checked it out and figured out that it would be able to stand being played and recorded and put a new set of strings on it, it woke back up. And there's a song or instrumental tune on the CD called Waking Up Jimmie's Guitar. And it sounded way better. We were, over about a month, I guess, we recorded. It sounded way better at the end than it did at the beginning. It woke it back up.
How about
and it got louder and more bassy. And
it's got a life of its own.
Yeah, it's a wonderful old piece. And all the time I was playing, I was just thinking, who all has had a hold of this thing? You know, Ernest Tubb kept it out there, and you know, everybody said, let me hold Jimmie Rodgers' guitar. You know, they were all, that was the holy grail. So I bet Hank Williams played that guitar too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a wonderful old piece, and it was such an honor to get to play it and record with it.
Golly, what an honor. Yeah, it's like the resurrection has been resurrected.
It has. It's we played it, I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe a little better, one day out at the graveside service. They brought it out there for me to play and sing a song on it, and I didn't tune it way up, nowhere close to standard. I just got where he could, didn't go all the way to pitch with it. Played a song on it, and there were some Australians out there, and they just wanted to come up, can I touch it, can I touch it? And it was just like touching the hem of Jesus' garment. If they could touch Jimmie Rodgers' guitar, they were fixed.
Stick around, we'll be right back.
Modern Outfitters. All things firearms, including premium outdoor brands for all outdoor enthusiasts and firearm collectors. Full-service custom shop, state-of-the-art indoor shooting facilities, training and consultation. Custom coatings and finishes, including Cerakote and Hydrofilm. Specialized optics, suppression, and thermal imaging systems. Premium gear, custom firearm systems, tailor-fit to your specific needs. That's Modern Outfitters. Find us on Facebook and modernoutfitters.com for more info and events.
Coming up next on The Road in Between.
What's in a letter? If you're Mitchell Signs and Imprints, one letter means everything, and it's in the name. Mississippi, Meridian, Mitchell Signs, Imprints. Two companies that help you reach your clients, whether it's big or small. And just like the name says, Mitchell Signs and Imprints are local. Meridian people, Mississippi pride. From quality signs to the perfect promotional product, see why Mitchell Signs and Imprints have been earning Mississippi's trust for more than 100 years. Check them out on Facebook for special deals and more information.
Welcome back to The Road in Between.
Hey! Thank you. Y'all didn't know what y'all in for tonight, did you? Let's call somebody.
Country music? Not really much, but my grandmother used to watch the Grand Ole Opry, and I watched that with her. So that's about my closest connection to it. So there you go.
So what styles of music have kind of influenced you?
More R&B, soul, a little bit of rock and roll, gospel. That's more kind of the style I kind of grew up with and listened to. So that's been what's been most influential at this point, But I can listen to country music now.
Now, music in general, obviously your career has kind of been made music. What does music mean to you?
I mean, it's almost my religion, It's what I live, eat, and breathe, and it makes me, it moves me in ways that other things can't, And so that's it puts that lump in your throat, as I like to say, and that's what music. It encompasses everything I do, and so I have to step away from it because I get too obsessed. But I love it. It's amazing.
Now, is this your first attendance for the Jimmie Rodgers music?
Yeah, this is my first time being at the festival. Not my first time in Meridian. I actually sang at a church one time in Meridian. I would say probably about 15 years ago. So.
Are any other performers that are performing their music that you'd like as far as the styles? Or?
Well, I don't listen to a lot of the stuff, but Jason Isbell's playing after us, and he's a fellow Alabama native, so we can go with him.
Can you say a little bit about music in the South in general, kind of how it's?
I mean, it's the birthplace of a lot of great things, You have New Orleans, you have Alabama, that's where we're from. You got Mississippi. I mean, it's just there's something about it that's just a little bit different than everything else. It has a little flair to it. Has some grit to it. And that's kind of how we feel. It's kind of how we feel about what we do, and having that grit, and that's Southern music. That's what it is.
It's just not real loud.
Perfect, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate
And I
it.
can't get it.
With all of the holes in my pocket, maybe I still got a chance. When the sun sets a little bit sooner, my appetite grows pretty good. You seem a little bit further.
To be completely honest, no, for me personally.
I think in a lot of ways he has, whether or not we've realized it or not, because as one of the fathers of country, there's been a lot of other musical endeavors throughout the years that have influenced us, and whether or not we realize it trickles down. And so I didn't know as much about Jimmie Rodgers until we were asked to play the festival, upon which I learned how influential he was and who he influenced and who they influenced, and how eventually I'm here today making music. So.
Well, just for me as a kid growing up with the songs
of such a towering luminary of just music, popular culture in general. You know, just grateful. We came from Nashville this morning.
So, from styles of music, there's all different kinds of genres here. Or any of the other artists that are performing, you guys got a style of music that you guys like? Or?
I love Jason Isbell. Yeah, I saw him and Amanda Shires in Denton maybe 4 years ago. It's a small stage, so it's cool to see them, or I should rather say, it will be cool to see them tonight on such a big stage with such a big production.
So you're leaving here, where are y'all going to perform next? What do you think?
We're home for a few.
Oh wow, so you're getting the
Yeah, we just got done with a 3-week-long tour.
Oh wow.
So this is the last date on the trip.
Right, okay.
But then we're going to be nearby in Memphis at the Levitt Shell, which is a historic, I mean, if you saw it, you'd know it. So we're super excited about that. And we've got some stuff in Montana in July. So we're kicking about, you know?
So now all of you are musicians. How has music kind of affected your life? What does music mean to you? Kind of where it gets you?
It's honestly, it's a language. You know, it's a language everyone speaks. It's something that you can connect with any kind of person. You know, even if you don't really have a lot in common with someone, music is a connector for everyone. And it's a way I think, for all of us to kind of express ourselves and, you know, put ourselves out in the world and hope that there's some kind of influence.
Music is the best thing ever. Yeah.
Music has been everything in my life. It's been my family for a long time. My grandmother sang on the Tennessee Barn Dance. She met June Carter. She was amazing, and it's been in my family, and that's just what I just wanted to do, something to make me happy.
What's it like to be? Is this your first time to Jimmie Rodgers? Have you been here before to Jimmie Rodgers?
To Jimmie Rodgers Festival? I have not been here before, and I think it's really fun. I love it.
What would you say to any other young girls who are wanting to be a singer and kind of getting started with it?
You gotta practice a lot. It takes time. I just think that you should stick with the older stuff, because I think it's a lot of fun to do the older stuff, and I think it gets you on the right track to music and all kinds of stuff. And just follow your dreams.
At first I thought I would tell you to travel on the other way. Oh, but in my memory lingers all you once were.
Thank you so much, Meridian, Mississippi. Thank you.
Stick around, we'll be right back.
In today's world where most businesses and corporations' main mission is to simply make profit, CRM Companies differs itself by focusing on being successful in a way that also promotes growth and prosperity in the community. CRM Companies isn't simply a commercial development and management company. They create opportunities, they create jobs, they maximize the potential for growth and development of a better community, all while still providing great services and outstanding customer relations. Learn more about CRM Companies and their mission today. Visit crmco.com.
Coming up next on The Road in Between.
Harvest Grill, where great food and gatherings happen in the heart of downtown Meridian. open for lunch and dinner, Tuesday through Saturday. Come dine with us and experience traditional recipes with a fresh, surprising new flavor. Visit harvestgrillms.com to view our menu and hours.
Welcome back to The Road in Between. As we gather underneath this magnolia tree, this is the great symbol of welcome and the symbol of our state, we recognize that the limbs of this tree carry over to this sacred place, this holy place of Jimmie Rodgers and his family. We recognize that this is holy ground, and it is wonderful to come back here and to reflect, to remember, and rejoice of the life of Jimmie Rodgers and of his legacy and what he has offered not only to the state but to the world. He's the father of country music and perhaps the father of all music. I remind you of Psalm 98. Oh, sing to the Lord a new song, for he has done marvelous things. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Break forth into joyous song and sing praises. Sing praises to the Lord with a lyre and the sound of melody. That's what Jimmie Rodgers has done. That's what this family has offered, the legacy of the gift of music. When I was with Britt Gully recently, he reminded me of that famous guitar and how it was through the hole of that guitar that came out this wonderful melody. That is the gospel. That it is through the hole in the ground that Jesus was resurrected from the dead that brought the great melody of life and life abundant. It is the resurrection music. It's the songs of hope that we all cherish. And it comes through the hole of that one guitar of one Jimmie Rodgers, and it carries on today and beyond. As you think about your own legacy, we were reminded that life matters, conversations are important, and we are invited to sing to the Lord a new song. We cherish the old, but we are invited also to remember that we each have a gift to share that melody. May the Lord bless this family and all of these friends who are gathered here at this holy ground. Let us pray. Loving God, we thank you for this moment, and we're grateful, oh God, to step aside from this busy world to experience a hush and the movement of your Holy Spirit as the winds blow upon this hill. We're grateful, oh God, for the legacy and the life of Jimmie Rodgers. We're so thankful for one another here who've stepped aside to remember. We ask your blessings, oh Lord, upon his legacy of music, the simplicity of the song and the depth of his lyrics and the way it touches our souls. So send us forth from here as we've come beside the still waters, beside the green pastures, asking you, O God, for the restoration and the renewal. And now, O God, may the Lord bless us and keep us. May the Lord make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us this day and forevermore. Amen. The Road in Between is made possible thanks to these sponsors: John O'Neill Johnson Motor Companies, Glass Incorporated, CRM Companies, Archer Architecture, Benchwarmer Grill, Benefits Management Group, Bright FX, Construction Services Incorporated, Cooper Concrete, Harvest Grill, Marcello Cranes, Mitchell Signs and Imprints, Modern Outfitters, Mississippi Beverage and Water, Nationwide Insurance with Richard Davis, Woodstock Furniture.
thoughts keep running through my head as I walk this road with nothing ahead. The sun beams down on my face as I walk this road that leads to